Most of you probably know what has been going on in the community these past few days, but just in case you didn't know, let me get you up to speed. The data miners from the NIKKE community Discord basically got a cease and desist from the NIKKE operations team, warning them to stop sharing data mined information or else the NIKKE operations team will have to take it to the hands of the legal department if they don't comply. The people who ran the Discord server immediately complied and took down the data mines channel. But to my surprise, this also affected the other sources of data mine information. I have a list of different websites that I usually refer to when I'm looking for the latest updates for upcoming content, but the majority of them either completely took down their pages or have started to remove the dedicated leaks section on their websites. I'm not sure if the operations team also sent them warning messages, or maybe they decided to take it all down after knowing about what happened in the community Discord. Nonetheless, a lot of the sites were presumably taken down by choice. Most video game companies that run gacha games are against leaks primarily because the players will spend less money if they sort of have this catalog of characters where they can just pick and choose which characters they like and save for them. On the other hand, the main reason why players look at leaks is also because of the exact same reason. Most players, especially the non-spenders, have significantly less resources to work with, so being able to see which character options you have and what's to come means that you can plan and save accordingly. I know that the NIKKE operations team is very well within their rights to stop things like this from happening, but if this was actually that big of a deal, you would think that they would have done something sooner. Leaks about NIKKE have been popping up even way before the game was released, but we didn't hear anything about the NIKKE operations team doing something about it. Maybe the operations team didn't have internet access up until recently, but my guess is just as good as yours. Just to give you an idea on how long ago this started, a simple Google search will show you a bunch of leaked images on Twitter that dates back to March 22 of this year, which was 6 months before the game was even released. Some might say that they were not taking action because the leaks were not that well known or not as prominent in the community. But isn't stopping the source before it gets worse a better option overall? The timing for all of this also didn't help, because this looked more like a response to the recent community backlash after the players knew about the changes they made to the upcoming characters and skins. It seemed like the leaks were fine until the leaks about the design changes came out. A lot of people were complaining about it being a form of censorship after it was clearly stated that the game would not be censored. But a lot of the responses were also pointing out how bad and awkward the characters look, specifically talking about how their legs look unnatural, because it's the same leg just mirrored to make it face the other way so that it covers the crotch area. I am fully aware that they have to follow the 12+ rating on the game, which by the way is a terrible rating to put on a game that is clearly meant for a certain demographic, but they should at least be more consistent on what is or what is not allowed in the game. There are a lot of characters in the game that are just as revealing as Winter Rupee's original design, but they somehow managed to get into the game. So this makes me wonder if they will eventually have to redesign some of the pre-existing characters just like what they have done in the past. Another possible reason that they are toning down on the fan service side of the game is that there are rumors of a China release for NIKKE, and it's very well known that China has way more strict regulations when it comes to video games, even down to a character's chest being 1 cup size too big can already subject it to a redesign. If ever the planned China release was true, why can't they just make a separate version of the game that will better fit the regulations in China or other countries? And for the rest of the players who want the full uncensored experience, just like what they promised before, they can just let the other players download the global uncensored version. A lot of other games have done this in the past, so I don't see why this is not a viable option for NIKKE. So what's my overall take on this? I'm all for redesigns. You can have a totally different design choice without having to censor the character. And if you ever make redesigns, just make it more polished, because as of now, the ones that we've seen from both the leaks and from the official announcements looked a little bit rushed just for the sake of redesigning or whatever reason. I know that some of the designs are still subject to change, but some of the designs like the leg position just gives a bad impression to most players. As for the leaks, I can totally understand why they don't want leaks from a business standpoint. But for this one, I am more on the player side. Not everyone wants to or is willing to pay hundreds of dollars just to get a character in a game that is filled with bugs and other internal issues. So you can't really blame the players for wanting to have a reference on what's to come, so they can have a better look at which characters they really want to go for. I'm completely fine with getting rid of leaks, but in exchange, I would like them to at least provide some sort of content roadmap every month or every other month, so that we're not completely in the dark and actually have something to look forward to without necessarily having to refer to leaks. While yes, giving the community a content roadmap won't necessarily stop all of the data miners from leaking information, but it will still make it so that looking at leaks won't be that necessary. Aside from the censorship and leaks, my biggest concern is the fact that they clearly advertise the game as one thing, and then after they manage to lure the players in, they suddenly decide to make changes at the same time, hoping that the players will stay just because they already spent quite a significant amount of time and money on their game. This game was clearly targeted for a specific demographic of players who enjoyed the more fanservice-y type of gameplay, so they shouldn't be surprised if a majority of the player base gets upset when they start to tune down on the fanservice aspect of the game, because that was their main selling point in the first place. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.